Welcome back, everybody. On Monday, March 23rd, 2026, Jensen Huang, the CEO of NVIDIA, was sharing on a podcast with Lex Friedman that AGI is here. Artificial general intelligence is here. Now, this set off a whole circus of conversation in the media on, is it here? What does that mean? Wait, what is artificial general intelligence anyway? And what's so interesting is that while all that circus has been going on for the last, we're recording this on the 24th, but whenever you see this, that debate may be still going on, right? Because what we've tuned into is while that's been going on, a lot of founders of small startups, small businesses, they're asking a different question. General for whom? Designed by whom? And they're not waiting for an answer. They are building one. And that's what we want to talk about today. Like, what does it actually take, not structurally, but like within you as a potential founder, even if you're not one yet, what might you found and create? What might you build in this moment where we are either at AGI or soon there? So Gretchen, I know you have so much data and perspective on this, and I really want to lean into your experience around this. I think we should define what we mean by artificial general intelligence first so that we're kind of on the same page with everybody. Does that sound good?
Sounds great.
Okay, so I just pulled up in the Times Now article, AGI explained what it is and how it's different than artificial intelligence. And so it's talking about artificial general intelligence, AGI, is often described as the moment machines stop being specialists and start behaving more like generalists. So not just doing one thing well, but handling a wide range of tasks with something that resembles human understanding.
Mhm.
Now, that might be writing code, planning strategy, learning new skills on the fly, even adapting to situations they've never seen before, right? And that's what would kind of separate it from what we might call or think about as just artificial intelligence today. A lot of the AI that we interact with right now, this article is saying it falls under what's known as more narrow AI, right? These
Right.
systems are built for specific jobs. Your voice assistant can set reminders, a recommendation engine can suggest movies, translation tools can convert languages in seconds, and they're very efficient, impressively so, actually, I'd have to say. Um,
Yeah, very.
but they're kind of like in a swim lane, right? And so artificial general intelligence is not limited that way. And I think what happened on the podcast with Jensen Huang and Lex Friedman is that Jensen was like, I think AGI is here. Now, the way he defined that was the ability for AI agents to develop and grow a $1 billion company. So he was defining it more as like a capability. But that may not be on everybody's mind today. Like, how am I going to create a $1 billion company? But you might be thinking about what can I bring to the table as this race for general intelligence is going on. So
Mhm.
if I were a founder today, or I'm thinking about starting that thing that I've always been passionate about for a while, Gretchen, what would I have to like think about within myself as we're racing towards AGI?
Oh, yes. Well, I find this to be not only super exciting, but very inspirational and very on point for both you and I as founders in our 50s. In fact, the most bankable foundational age and gender of all. There is nothing more like consistently rewarded or consistently successful than a company founded by a woman in her 50s. It's such great information. So what I feel when I think about the opportunity for AGI and the average person who has ideas or contribution they would like to make to this space is now you have this at your fingertips. And if you are not creating, then you're missing out. And as you mentioned earlier, a year from now, the exponential growth of where AGI would have you if you were to sit on the sidelines now and try to dive in a year is is almost unimaginable. And we've seen that in our own work in the last 2 weeks, working with agents and building our corporation. And the ability for us to scale with incredible knowledge, research, and getting difficult tasks accomplished quickly is astounding. So I'm excited about that. Where we have opportunity is that, women are adopting AI at a 25% delta reduction over men. So
Why?
men are leaning in. Likely it's comfort and confidence. There hasn't been some, let's see, look at the data. It's saying we don't know why, but the concerns basically are ethics and it's not technophobia, but it's like ethics and standards and accountability. So women are looking at the big picture and mothers are looking at the big picture. I think that's this, overarching view is that women would like AGI or artificial intelligence to retain the human touch and make sure that their children have something to do. I think that this is one of the repetitive messages I get when I speak to my friends that are professionals are, what will my children do? They're in college right now or they're in high school. What is the future for them? And this is where I think female founders can fill a void and do it really, really well. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I have a belief in general, even aside from AI, that we're much more powerful than we know, and that I've always, I've learned that, like, if I'm waiting, I'm not creating, and I'd much rather be a creator in this life, even if it's imperfect. Now, sometimes people will call that courageous. Sometimes I feel like, oh, I don't know, is it courage or is it naivete? I'm not sure, but I'd rather jump in. Like, I don't know. I didn't know jumping into all this space with the pace of change with AI. What if it depended on my ability to code? People would be waiting a really, really long time to get anything valuable. But I don't need to code now. Like that's what's incredible. And so it's great that that lack of maybe technical understanding is no longer a delta. It's actually um, if you have that belief that you can create value and you can actually make artificial intelligence more meaningful and impactful for those that you want to serve, then there's tools out there that are ready to meet you in this moment.
Yes, I agree that there is a new wave for those who refuse to wait and they're building their own companies on their own terms. We are an example of that.
Yeah.
And, there is a $1.6 trillion economic gap that won't close with technology designed by teams that don't understand it. This will close with women getting into the business.
Yeah.
And in fact, one of the best quotes that I've seen are that so instead of waiting for the system to change,
Mm-hmm.
women, and I think we can put ourselves in this camp, are building it anyway. We're saying, hey, where is the intersection of leadership, decision quality, brain health, and AI?
Yeah.
And we've created a unique space that is filling a void. There
Yeah.
are hundreds of thousands of women who are out there with incredible ideas to serve humanity. This is the time to shorten that wage gap by putting this work into the world. That's my view. What do you think about that?
Well, for sure. And so we don't really know, I guess, from the research why women are, again, using artificial intelligence 25% less. I mean, it could be any number of factors. You call out a few. But if one of them actually is that we're thinking kind of more systemically and want it to reflect more of human-centered values, then, like, let's be part of that solution. You don't have to wait for someone in Silicon Valley to
Right.
create that. That's the source of power. Like, in the past, I've created my own business before artificial intelligence was even a thing, like, well, broadly outside of, tech companies. So back in 2001 was my first, venture into my creating my own business. And that was um, powerful to find the possibilities within myself and be that creator. But what's available today is exponentially
Yes.
greater to take an idea, translate it into something that is immediately applicable. Now, the sustainability is where we have to kind of still bring the human capability. And I think that was what Jensen Huang's point was, that like you can spin up a website, you can have agents like creating a whole customer service, kind of process, and like you can actually within hours create a company, a website, an app. I mean, so many different aspects of what would take months or lots of funding, et cetera, in the past. How do you then make sure that that actually continues to create value? If women are not getting into AI because they want to bring more systemic value-based humanity to it, now's your time. Like
Yep.
let's bring that and put that into the mix so that more of us are shaping what AI is becoming, but also what AI is learning from us.
Yeah.
If we're letting the majority of other technically oriented people be on AI, that's what AI is going to learn. That's
Right.
what humanity is. Like, come on, we got to get a little bit more broad range going on here.
Well, holding your values while building, I think, is a wonderful way for us to give a permission structure. So, this is a call
Mm,
to action for any woman out there who thinks, I have an idea and I've been held back by that tech gap or even my own understanding of how things work. It is now accessible to you. I promise you, if I can do it, it literally is the lowest bar of all time. So, when women build AI, they tend to ask different questions. Who is this actually for and who will this benefit? And
mm,
I think it is the nurturers in the society that really need to dive into this and really builders that shape the outcome. And the questions and innovation are happening with inside tech. I'd like to see the pressure happen outside of tech with founders that have ideas that they could see would make immediate impact on their community, on their world, and in their areas of expertise. So I think the real conversation is to, yes, women, but really anyone who has the idea,
yeah.
if not now, when? This is really an exciting time because you can have a general intelligence walk you through every step of building your vision of a business. And in particular, I want to highlight the ability for women to be entrepreneurs right now. So like it is magical to be a woman in your second prime who is full of wisdom, discernment, and can hold paradox calmly
Yep.
and be centered on their ethics and what they stand for. And this is really our superpower. So I'm very excited about this as a new frontier for women entrepreneurs in their second prime, which is, post 40. I really see this as the biggest boom for people in our demographic.
And I want to say two things to that. I personally know of several friends, colleagues, acquaintances who are going through a lot of disruption and reinvention in their own lives, whether that has to do with someone in their family having an illness or divorce or some other impact in their own career. And they're really starting to think, what am I going to do in this next phase of life? And entrepreneurship might have felt like really overwhelming in the past. And I think about a friend that's going through multiple layers of everything that she had built in her life being kind of disrupted. And I'm thinking, you know what? I talked with her this morning. This is like, honestly, this is not hype. This is not a commercial for AI or the tech companies. It is honestly one of the best windows of time to take that idea that you have been the one that we talk about late night on a Friday night over a fire pit with a glass of wine. Now's the time
We
to
call
put that
that
into,
I call that an inconvenient dream. What is has
yeah,
that? been, the woodpecker, always just there to tap, tap, tap. If you ever had the opportunity, or if you had the money, the funding, the skills, this is the democratization of that with
Yeah.
the ability for AI in this particular moment. And I would like to point out, likely your friend is at peak readiness for entrepreneurship. So I'm very bullish on people diving in and creating something on the weekends. It doesn't have to take over your life, but it certainly is an opportunity. We know that AARP has reported that adults over the age of 50 are roughly 25% of all new entrepreneurs. And so it's really an exciting time, because even as analog natives,
Mm.
we can contribute in this new space. And I think we owe it to ourselves to evolve, to flex, to learn, and to be curious and engaged with what is happening right now.
And what's cool, as perhaps a final note, is if you're in that demographic, you get the power. You may also have others in your family that are not in that demographic. You've got younger family members, children. You've got, a partner or another friend. It's not just gender, it's also this shift from participation to creation. And so what might you do with others too? Like, take the power of everything that you just articulated. I'm proud to be part of that, like, fabulous 50s, and everything that I hear those stats and I'm like, all right, like, bring it, right? And we can invite others to join us on that journey at this time where we can be creators. And I think that may be the question to really sit with, because whoever builds the technology determines what it becomes, and it also determines what AI learns about who we are as humans. So what do you want to bring? Like, what if you could create one thing, and even if it never becomes $1 billion business like Jensen Huang says, but it becomes something that brings your experience, your purpose, your unique perspective out in the world, and could have some value, what would that be? What's holding you back from that? And how could you begin experimenting with some of the tools today?
Oh, it's so exciting. And I just, if you are one of those people that think, I want to bring goodness to the world, have a tool that can help you do that on a scale that you couldn't have imagined even a month ago. So I share that with so much excitement, and a person who's going through it right now with my business partner, as we speak. And, being able to express the gifts through real action is a
Yeah,
privilege. And I am so grateful for that. So thank you so much, Leanne, for this fun episode. It's very exciting and inspirational.
absolutely, Gretchen. And thanks for being on this journey together. We hope that this has been inviting and inspiring, or at least provoking some curiosity for you too. What might
Yep.
you create? Jump right in and tell us what
Tell
happened.
us. Yeah. All right.
All right.
Take
We'll see
care.
you next time.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for spending this time with us. If something landed, sit with it. That pause is actually where the real work happens. And if you're navigating this shift at your organization and you'd like to bring this conversation inside your walls, go ahead and find us at deeplyhumanleading.com. If today's episode landed with you, share it with somebody that you think could really use it. The ripple starts there. Until next time, stay curious and stay human.